Good morning, friends. This is YAGYA and I'm presenting the economy survey for the Empower IAS Academy. So, we were discussing the chapter 1, what was about waterfall strategy, then bar value structure, and then agile framework, and how these frameworks are helping the economy to develop its demand after the post-COVID scenario. कोविड सिनेरियो 2 साल जो खत्म हुआ कोरोना का, उसके बाद हम देख रहे थे कि कैसे इकोनॉमी डेवलप कर रही है और कैसे रिकवरी आ रही है. Now we see in chapter 2 that how these are being calculated by government of India in order to create the overall record of one fiscal year. So economy survey is a record of 1 year data that has been taken into overall economic activity of the country. Now we are talking about the revenue receipts, which is defined as the receipt which is not making any asset, not making any liability. So it is recurring in nature as well as it is provided by the government of India for the normal course of activities. And revenue receipt, what it includes? It includes proceeds from the taxes, other duties levied by the center, and interest and dividend received on this investments, and the fees and charges the government receives by various institutions and various activities or services in the economic activity. Now we see what is fiscal deficit. Fiscal deficit is total revenue collected minus total expenditure total revenue collected minus total expenditure is called as fiscal deficit. Now, what is primary deficit? Primary deficit refers to the difference between current year's fiscal deficit and the interest paid by the person. So, current year's fiscal deficit and the interest payment of previous borrowings. That means fiscal deficit minus borrowings results to the primary deficit. Keep it in mind, remember for your UPSC prelims as well as mains point of view plus interview. Very, very important. So, tax revenue. What is tax revenue? It is comprised of annual financial statement, that is Union Budget, which is under Article 112 of Government of India Constitution, and which comprises of all the applications of economic activity within one fiscal year, and total tax revenue is a percentage of GDP indicates the share of country's output collected by the government through the taxes. How much is the tax collected within one financial year, that is taken under the tax rate, which is the total tax revenue, and it can be regarded as one of the measure of the degree by which government controls the economic resources. So it is the degree to which government controls the economic resources. Now we see in how the economic activity are so much disciplined by the government activity in present scenario, that is how these are being controlled in terms of services in order to control the economy and overall procedures of economic development. Now, excise duty. What is excise duty? The items which are to be produced within the territory of a country. So, the taxes which are charged on the items produced within the territory is called as excise duty, and that are the goods as well as services. So the tax which is collected from the goods as well as services from outside the country is called as excise duty. And inverted duty structure, that is in GST we see there was tax slabs. So as the tax is raised, there is duty structure and there are finished goods and unfinished goods. Finished goods कैसे सामान होते हैं दोस्तों? The goods which are byproduct of company's manufacturing unit by making it very finished and very qualitative product, that are finished goods such as furniture, laptop, computer, television and such sectors. And in other words, GST rate paid on the purchase of more than GST rate payable on sales. This was collected on the inverted duty structure. That is why it is called as inverted duty structure. And the term inverted tax structure refers to a situation where the rate of the tax on inputs purchased is more than the rate of tax on outward supply. Yani there is certain inputs of the products and there was output supply. So it is a tax between the input and the output of the tax structure. Now going to the next. So capital expenditure. What is capital expenditure? Capital is certain things which are long-term investment. So capital expenditure is that expenditure which is made by the government of India in terms of railways, roads, infrastructures, ports, airports, and various things which make the long-term investment by the government and create a long-term impact on the economy. That are called as the capital expenditure. And in terms of machinery, equipments, buildings, health facilities, education, etc. Then long-term assets are usually called as the capital expenditure, and it includes the expenditure incurred on acquiring fixed assets. Now, the non-debt capital receipts, the receipts which are created by the government by selling the old assets, those assets which were non-utilizable. So, government, what it does, such as railway procurement board, there are various things which are kept outside the railway stations and roadside, and various outdated products. So, these products are sold by the government, and there is a receipt of the fund and money from selling those things that are called as non-debt creating capital receipts. And such receipts come from loans, proceeding of sale, and public enterprises. When there is certain loans or any mortgage, then government sells it and recovers the loss. That is called as non-debt creating capital receipts. Then custom duty, it refers to the tax imposed on goods and services that are transported across international borders. That means these products of imports and exports are taken under the custom duty. Remember, it's very important. So the rate of custom duty was quite compromised in this fiscal year due to COVID lockdown situation. So the trade activity was enlarged, and it was under the Customs Act of 1962. Remember, friends, what was the act? That was Customs Act of 1962. That is Customs Act. So this falls under the Central Board of Excise and Taxes. Another very important point, CBEC. Remember the minor details of CBEC, what it does for prelims as well as mains point of view. Now, the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Rozgar Yojana was employed in order to provide the employment for the people who were migrating. So, in order to counter the vulnerable sections and migrants, there was a barbell strategy which we discussed in the first chapter. Under this barbell strategy, the employment was provided to the migrating workers as well as the laborers immediately employment livelihood basis for their survival in the states of Bihar, Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha, Rajasthan and Uttar Pradesh. So these states were having these products for the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Abhiyan. Then generated 50.8 crore man-day employment. By this, government created 50.8 crores of employment from 27/7/2021 with expenditure of 39,000 to 39 crores. Another important facts, keep it in your mind. The next is Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme. The coverage of the scheme was enlarged in order to provide more employment facilities to the rural unemployed youth who were situated in their villages and demanding certain kind of job opportunity. So the expenditure incurred was 11.2 crore. 11.2 crore persons generating 389.2 crore persons per day. Funds of 1,11,171 crore released. And employment provided to 8.85 crore persons. 8.85 crore persons will have employment, and the funds of 68,233 crore released. 8,233 crore of fund. Mangalrega is increased by 20 on the wage rate of 2019 and 2020. So the contribution of 12% employer by 12% employers share under EPF, that is Employment Provident Fund. Remember, for your prelims as well as mains, Employment Provident Fund establishments up to 100 employees with 90% of earnings less than 15,000. Now, protected employment in EPFO registered establishment post-COVID scenario. So this becomes again very important. How EPFO provided by EPFO, which is Employees Provident Fund Organization, which again promises from the government side to provide more and more employment facilities and more inclusion of various sectors which are having the capability to be part of the contribution in any economic activity. So EPFO ने क्या start किया? आत्मनिर्भर भारत रोजगार योजना reduces the financial burden of employers and encouraging the hiring of the people who were unemployed during the COVID scenario. कोविड सिनेरियो में बहुत लोग अनएम्प्लॉयड हो गए थे, तो उनकी हायरिंग की गई. I hired more workers by EPFO. So the data is taken on 20 November 2021. Benefits of 39.43 lakh beneficiaries to 1.15 establishment. Housing. अब हम हाउसिंग बात देखते हैं. प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजना PMAY, another very important scheme. प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजना ग्रामीण as well as rural, urban. So PM Gramin Yojana 2020-2021 33.99 lakh houses completed as on 25/11/2021. 26.20 lakh houses completed. Another point to be noted, then Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana urban. First was rural, PMAY, and this is PMAY urban. So in urban scenario, we see 11.56 lakh houses completed and 4.49 lakh houses completed up to December 21st, 2021. Now, in terms of skill development, which is again very important factor by Government of India, in terms of National Skill Quality Framework (NSQF), so government made important arrangement under Skill Development Mission, which makes the youth of India skilled by making ITI and Polytechnic as well as skill development courses. So skilling is very important in order to create the people very much employable and have their minute skills which they needed to work in an industry such as in electric vehicle company or in software company or in laptop repairing, mobile working company. So those skills were imparted under this program under National Skill Quality Framework. Further, Deen Dayal Upadhyay Gramin Kaushal Yojana may again a leap forward by adding more skills to the rural self-employment training institutes, which are another important factors. RSETIs, rural self-employed training institutions, which important skill development program for rural poor youth. Very important. Again, makes a leap for the financial inclusion and overall development of the country's rural population. So rural skilling was there and rural employment facilities were generated. So many candidates, such as 49,563 candidates placed in their jobs till October 2021, 14,568 candidates restrained. Then 6-month moratorium by Reserve Bank of India for MSME support, again micro, small and medium enterprises. Medium, small and micro enterprises, which again constitute a larger part of GDP. So what government does? It provided the loans by RBI allied to 77.2% for MSME sector के लिए and 43.7% of individual borrowers of scheduled commercial banks and on 31st August 2020. Now, restructuring of MSME default, what we saw? We saw that there was again change in the definition of MSME. MSME के परिभाषा में सुधार लाया गया in terms of their original capital expenditure, what MSME requires to make. Now, MSME default loan August 2020 and May 2021 schemes of RBI aggregate restructured and 78,591 crores as on 12 November 2021 by scheduled commercial banks, resolution restructuring by public sector bank in 9.8 lakh MSME encounters, accounting to 58,524 crores. Remember that how MSMEs were helped to develop their capital. MSME sectors which were struggling during the COVID lockdown period, 2 साल के COVID lockdown period में MSME sector struggle कर रहे थे, which were again helped by the government of India by providing impetus in terms of loans from RBI, scheduled commercial banks and small banks in order to create their capital fixed and let them develop and grow.